Hi, and welcome to a video explaining Pythagoras and trigonometry. We'll start with Pythagoras' theorem. So, this theory only works if you have a right-angled triangle, and the general theory is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Key to remember alongside this is how you need to label your triangle. The way it works is that c must always be the longest length. And then from there, A and B don't matter. So in this example here, we have this triangle. Best place to start straight away is write down Pythagoras' theorem. And again, we're going to label our triangle again, making sure that C is going to be our longest length. And again, A and B don't matter. Next, we're going to fill in what we know. So from here, we know that A is 8, so I have 8 squared here. B is x, so plus x squared, and c is 10, so that all must equal 10 squared. We can then work out the stuff. So 8 squared is 64, plus x squared equals 10 squared, which is 100. We now want to solve for x squared, so we want to get x squared by itself, and the opposite of plus 64 is minus 64. So we want to take away 64 from 100, which tells us x squared must be 36. Then we can just solve this. We've got a squared. The opposite of squaring is square rooting. So x will be the square root of 36, which just gives us 6. So note, for these questions, you don't always get whole number answers. Sometimes you might get a long decimal. That's absolutely fine. It just depends on what kind of numbers you start off with. Okay, if you want to try these 4 questions quickly, feel free to pause the video. If not, I'll go for the answers in 3, 2, 1, 0. So for question 1, you should work out x is 5. For question 2, x is also 5. For question 3, x is 15. And for question 4, x equals 7. Again, key piece of advice, always label your triangle. And best way to start is just writing down Pythagoras' theorem. Okay, for question 5, you should have got 5.66, and for question 6, you should have got 6.32. Question 7 and 8, you want to find the area of these triangles. So for these, you've got to find the missing length first, and then use that to find the area. Again, feel free to pause, I'll go through those in a second. Okay, for question 7, use Pythagoras. You work out this length is 8. You can then use the fact that area is half base times height to get an area of 60. Question 8, the exact same idea. This length is 9.80 to 3 sig figs, and you then get an area of 49.0 to 3 significant figures. Okay, that's it for Pythagoras. Just going to quickly move on to the basics of trigonometry. So, trigonometry is fairly straightforward. You should all have heard of the acronym SOHCAHTOA, and that basically tells us whether we're going to use sine, cosine, or tangent, okay, or sin, cos, and tan. To do that, we're going to have to label our triangles. So if I have just a random triangle with an angle somewhere, where the angle is really important, the length opposite the angle is called the opposite, the longest length is the hypotenuse, and the last length is the adjacent. Adjacent because it's adjacent to the angle. Let's use this to try and work out this question here. So first things first, I'm going to label my sides. So I've got the opposite, the hypotenuse, and the adjacent. In this question, I care about the opposite and hypotenuse. I don't care what the adjacent is, it's not involved at all in the question. Then go into my 3 triangles up here. If I look, I want to see what triangle has O and H in, which is the SOH triangle. Okay, that one's going to be using sine. So let's write it down here quickly. We want to find the hypotenuse. The way these triangles work is you basically want to cover up what you're trying to find. So if we cover up hypotenuse, we're left with opposite divided by sine. So therefore, to work out x, we're going to do the opposite, which is 7 over sine of 40. Okay, then you just type that straight into your calculator. If you do that, you will get an answer of 10.9 centimetres, again to 3 significant figures. Just quick as an aside, if you wanted to find the opposite, we then cover the opposite. You would then do sine of the angle times the hypotenuse, just in case that wasn't clear. Okay, on to the question on the right hand side. Let me just get rid of this for now. We'll start the same way. We're going to label our triangle. We have an angle here. So this is my opposite, this is my hypotenuse, and this is my adjacent. In this question, we have the hypotenuse and the adjacent. Let me just change colour quickly. So therefore, we want to be using K because that has A and H in it. Also, take into account what we've written down here. If we want to find a length, we use sine, cos, and tan. If we want to find an angle, we use sine to the -1, cos to the -1, and tan to the -1. Here we're finding an angle, so we're going to use one of these three things, and because it's cos, it's going to be cos to the -1. So again, let's write this triangle out again. We have K, we cover the C, and we're left with A over H. And again, we're finding an angle, so we're going to use cos to the -1. So my angle will just be cos to the -1 of A over H. A is 20, H is 34. Type it all into your calculator. If you do that right, you should get an answer of 54.0 degrees. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too bad. That's all I'm going to say for this. On the attached worksheet, or the included worksheet in the description, you have some more questions to practice from. Okay, they do get steadily harder. The first 9 is nothing I've seen in the Pythagoras stuff, first 12, sorry. On to the harder questions. Quick hint, when it says find the perimeter of the following, remember it is all the lengths around the outside. So here for this perimeter, you don't want to include the 12. And for this question, don't forget you've got to include this little line here. And a quick hint for question 18, the way you need to work it out is you have to chop this triangle into 2 to give you 2 right angled triangles. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. If you want to check your answers, they're all written at the bottom upside down. Okay, good luck, and as always, thanks for listening.